Okay, just setting up. Going to be doing this live stream fairly quickly, and we're talking about the Barbarian again. I've been talking about the Barbarian for many weeks now, and this is going to be my final video that I'll be doing on the Barbarian in this series. And any additional videos will have to be requested by anybody who wants them, if I've not covered something that people wanted me to talk about. If you haven't watched my live streams before, check down in the description if you're not part of the live stream and you're watching it or re-watching the replay, and you'll see the start time. If you have any questions or feedback, you can put them into the chat box during the live stream, and we're going to get started in just a moment. Hi, welcome to How to D&D. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and I'm talking about Dungeons & Dragons 5e, and this is how to play Dungeons & Dragons 5e. And what we're covering is the Barbarian's Primal Champion. This is the final video, as I've said, that I'll be doing on the Barbarian for this series. This is, at this point now, your Barbarian has reached their ultimate pinnacle, their apex in their development. And because of that, Superman now has a competitor in the Barbarian. So please turn to page 49 of the Player's Handbook for details on the Barbarian's Primal Champion feature. And I'm going to read it out and then talk a little bit about it. So at 20th level, you embody the power of the wilds. Your strength and constitution score increases by 4. Your maximum for these scores is now 24. Now the maximum used to be 20. You couldn't go higher than 20 unless you used spells or used magic items, stuff like that. But this now changes that whole dynamic. And it's not just for strength, it's for constitution. So provided you have been pimping out your strength score and your constitution score, you could potentially have a strength of 24 and a constitution score of 24 as well, and which is pretty good. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. In fact, it's one of the most broken, if you ask me, broken and impressive features that the Barbarian has, which is why I tend to say Barbarians don't really need to be multi-classed, and they don't really need to worry about things like feats, because they're pretty much inclusive. They have all the bits and pieces they need to function well. So, this is why I've been encouraging you during my series to max out your strength, why I've been encouraging you, once you've maxed out your strength score, to max out your constitution score, because of this feature. If you ever get to level 20 in your gameplay, you should have, at this point, a strength score and a constitution score of 24. And honestly, I still think that this is better than picking up a lot of feats that you could have throughout your progression. And certainly lots of feats are very powerful, but I'll explain to you why I think it's better to not multi-class, and why you should have been pimping out strength and constitution so you can pick up this feature near the end of your Barbarian's development. An increase in ability score of 4 equates to an increase of 2 to your modifier. That's your modifier for strength and constitution increasing by 2, not 1 but 2. It's like getting 2 ability score bumps or taking 2 feats all at once. And that's only for one of your abilities. When you take into consideration strength and constitution, I feel that it equates to an increase in your ability score 4 times and 4 separate feats. That's how powerful and strong it is. This is why I've been saying don't multi-class. Don't pick up too many feats. You really don't need them. It's an inclusive class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my little demo screen, and we're going to have a just run down really quickly what the improvements are going to actually mean to you in your game. So first off, an increase to your strength is going to affect your attack rolls, and if you've been paying attention, that means a +2 increase to your attack rolls. That means that your damage rolls in melee are going to improve by +2. And if you increase your, it's also going to increase your strength check and your athletics check by about +2, provided you've been doing what I've said and maxing out strength and constitution up to 20. It's going to increase your carrying capacity for encumbrance. I'm not really too worried about that. At this point, you've probably got such a high strength, it's really not going to matter that much. But it's also going to increase your strength saving throws, and probably by another +2. A +2 increase to strength saving throws is pretty significant. So that's just the element of how it's going to affect your strength. It's going to affect your attack rolls, your damage rolls, your strength checks, your athletics checks. It's going to increase your ability to carry stuff, your encumbrance. It's going to improve, and your strength saving throws, all going to improve. On top of that, it's affecting your constitution as well. So that means it's going to affect the maximum number of hit points you can have per level, which means if you have 20 levels in Barbarian, which you will if you're going to have Primal Champion, that's +2 times 20. +2, so 2 times 20 is 40 additional hit points. 40 additional hit points, that's quite a few. It also means that when you regain your hit points during a short rest, you're going to increase the regeneration of your hit points by another +2 at least. Of course, if you've done something really weird, like you haven't put any points into your strength and you've still got a 16 in strength and constitution, it might be a little bit different. But I would say you should be looking at an increase of about +2 to the number of hit points you get when you regain hit points by using your hit dice during a short rest. It's going to increase your constitution. So every time you make a constitution check, it's going to increase your ability to make those constitution checks. Now, constitution checks are not very common. They don't come up a lot unless your dungeon master is using a lot of poison and elemental environmental effects and stuff like that. But still very, very helpful. But it will increase something like your constitution saving throws. Constitution saving throws are very important because that deals with your ability to fight off poisons and other effects, and there's plenty of things in the game that will affect you in that sort of way. So I think that as a last class feature, Primal Champion is really, really impressive. And certainly, to a large degree, I think even feels a little bit broken in just how powerful it is. I've seen it used in my game, and it's frightening just what they can do with it. So that's everything I have on Primal Champion. So if you found this useful or helpful, please share and like the video. I can see somebody's already liked the video. Thank you very much. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, then maybe this is a good time to subscribe if you like this sort of content. Also hit the bell button, that will notify you when I publish a new video, but also when I do a live stream of any kind. If you want to support my channel, well, you supported my channel by just sitting through and watching this video. If you go and watch more of my videos, I have videos for players and for dungeon masters. There's bound to be something. There's about 500 videos, and I'm sure you'll find something useful to you. I don't do Patreon, but I do have affiliate links. So down in the description you'll find an affiliate link where you can buy stuff online. I get a small commission, you know the story, and you don't even have to buy the thing that it's linked to, and it doesn't even cost you any more than you would if you buy stuff online. I use Amazon and I use the book depository. Okay, and now this is your opportunity to start asking questions in the chat box. I can see that Lefty has already started. If you're not part of the live stream though, if you have questions, feedback, you disagree with me, you want to add something more to this discussion, that's what the comment section is all about. Go down to the comment section, put in your comments, give me some feedback, and we will discuss this. I usually comment or respond to people's comments within about 24 to 48 hours, and usually I respond to absolutely everything. And hey, that is it. Until next time, keep rolling those 20s. There it is. The big 20. We finally got there. Alright, we're going to open up for questions. So Lefty, how's it going? That would be me again. Yes, yes it is. Yeah, I'm doing all right, Lefty. Yeah, thanks. If I sound like I'm a little bit tired, it is because I'm a little bit tired. There is a lot going on in my life, but that's all right. What's that? Do you allow your players' characters to die? Absolutely. Yes, I do. My opinion of Dungeons and Dragons is death should have a place in Dungeons and Dragons, not for young kids though. I don't think that introducing the concept of death to very young children is a very good idea, but for players who are adults and so forth, absolutely. But you've got to understand that I'm not the sort of dungeon master myself who's going to insist that they have to roll up a new character. I tend to ask my players, look, do you want to keep playing the same character? If you do, we'll bring them back. If you can't, if your party can't figure out how to do it with spells or whatever, they don't have the resources to do it, I'll do it as the dungeon master, but I'm going to bring in a complication. And I usually present them with a couple of different ways that this might take place. And I usually indicate to them that there's a way of getting rid of that complication by doing stuff. Okay, so if I decide that they're going to lose a leg, or that they've cursed in some way, or they're beholden to a god or some kind, or to some sort of entity, or they've had to, the church has forked out the money for their resurrection, they're going to have to pay that back in some way. But there's a way of getting rid of that complication. And it might take some time, but there's always a way of doing it. I'm not tied to, when your character dies, you cannot play that character again. But I do believe in consequences. But I'm not also caught up in the concept that character death is the fault of the player. And I'm not even caught up in the fact that it might be the fault of the DM. I'm not even concerned about that sort of thing. Okay, I totally understand that Dungeons and Dragons uses dice, and there is a random element, and sometimes it's got nothing to do with players or the DM. It just, that's how it was, and I want people to have a good time. Lefty, what's that? I like to offer my players to continue or help me with the monsters. Yeah, during the game session, if I can't get them back into play, I've done exactly the same thing at Lefty. I think it's a good strategy, getting them to role play and control the monsters. I find that my players are reluctant to do that because often it's resulted in the monsters they're controlling causing quite a lot of strife for the players in the party. So I know my players are not very fond of doing that, but I still think it's something you should offer up. Some players just like to just get on with rolling up a new character. Other players just want to just sit there and watch, or maybe they decided they'll finish early. It's all options, all part of playing the game. So I can see that there isn't too many more comments coming through. This will be the last, as I said, of the Barbarian series, unless somebody stipulates there's something that they want me to talk about regarding the Barbarian. I probably won't go back to the Barbarian for a long time. What we will see is we're going to see videos and live streams for the Dungeon Master tailored to them about monster tactics. So for those of you who were enjoying the monster tactic videos, I believe the zombie is coming. I said I'd done the skeleton, but the zombie is on its way and hopefully will be delivered to you on time tomorrow. Okay, so I think that's where we will call it quits. Thank you, Lefty, for your questions and your feedback. I do appreciate it quite a lot, and that is a good point to stop for today. Oh, what's this? What's this, Lefty, before I disappear? Sometimes I have them make two, and when one dies I can introduce the other one later in the campaign. Yeah, that's certainly a way you can do it, but I think there's some merit to doing that. It just depends on the sort of campaign you're running. But after I ran Curse of Strahd, I just didn't get caught up and worried about character death because it was happening so much, and there was no way I was going to have them starting new characters all the time. I think I've done it occasionally, but I think I told the player, look, make a new character, but you can bring your old character back It's just not going to happen at this time. I want to just create a little bit of a space before they're reintroduced. Okay, righto. I'm going to say good night, and it's time for me to go and have some food. You guys have a good night, sleep, eat, whatever it is you need to do, and I will see you tomorrow.